of The Buzz. Tonight, very exciting guest, a former colleague of mine, now Lieutenant Governor of Guam, Mr. Ray Tenorio. Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio. How you doing?
Very good.
I catch myself all the time calling you,
That's fine.
You're my colleague.
Call me Ray anytime. Simple.
Hey, thank you. You haven't been on my show for a while.
That's right. Yeah, I'm glad to be here. It's been a while.
Well, you know, when I communicated with your office and communicated with you, you were the acting governor until yesterday, right?
Sunday, actually.
And actually, I wanted we're 2 years into the Cabo Tenorio administration.
Sure.
Where were we versus where we at now? Still a lot of challenges, a lot of things that we have and the administration have tackled and trying to conclude them, trying to raise them off the book of I guess unresolved.
Sure.
And so, but where are we at 2 years into this administration?
I think we've made substantial progress. I think the people are happier. We've got a better government providing better customer service. We're providing the people the tax refunds, which is way overdue. And we're doing it based on what we said. We didn't say a new direction and then keep going down the same road everybody else has been going down. We decided that we're going to change the way our government operates for the benefit of the people, and we have done that, I think. There are a lot of things that we're doing, and we'll be doing these things for years to improve our government, to make things more efficient, to make sure that we're more responsive and accountable. But the reality is, I think that the people, from the people that I talk to, feel better about the governor of Guam today than they did 18 months ago. And I'm proud of Governor Calvo for the work that he's done. He's been a fantastic leader. He's inspired a lot of people. He's delivered on the Russia visa waiver, and we're continuing to push for the China visa waiver, because we're all looking for jobs and opportunities for our island.
Now, let's talk about an area that you still oversee, basically, and one that you oversaw when we were the majority in the legislature, public safety.
Sure.
It's a great challenge, still challenged. We had the challenges, of course, of the ambulance. We were able to curtail that and get more ambulances. We're still challenged with the men and women in blue with equipment. I think 25 cruisers we have out there. The great challenge. Where are we at with public safety?
These are challenges faced because of the finances of our government largely. We've had demonstrated bad budgets for 3 years in a row from the Finance Committee of the Legislature. And you know, if you always do what you've always done, you're always going to get the same result. And you know, we're fortunate that the legislature adopted this administration's revenue figures because we believe we're on track, and we'll probably attain the goal that we did financially for this year. But that all affects every operation of this government. We can't buy tires for police cars. We're struggling right now to pay for the leases for the ambulances, and these are all life and death situations. We've got a communication system that we can't replace because we don't have the money to do it. And these are the reasons that we're facing a lot of the kind of critical circumstances under public safety. No, we've got a long way to go. You know that I've been talking about some of the issues about hazardous pay, night differential, and trying to find some way to put money back into operations. Every one of the public safety agencies are short, but it comes down to money. You can't hire people without money, and we need to put money into operations. If any household, if any business ran like the government of Guam has run for years now, they'd be homeless or out of business.
Well, how do we run an efficient government when we have, of course, health, education, public safety has in the past have been designated as the critical areas, if everything else is a priority?
Well, that's the key, is that you could go home and your wife says to you, for example, you know, sweetheart, we're going to be making less money. You have to make decisions on what is the real priority. Is water a priority over power? If it is, then pay your bills accordingly. Is your rent a priority over... I mean, we all put these things in order of priority. The government needs to do the same thing. And I heard an idea about the budget, which I really think may be a very good idea, is that when they adopt this budget for the next fiscal year, say that these things are going to get paid and they will be financed. If you attain your financial goal by this point in time, then you can do these other things. And that makes sense, because you don't go out and buy, you know, brand new furniture for your house, new pots and pans or other things for your house if you first can't buy your food. and pay for your rent and do those other things. So you've got to put the priorities in the right order. And if we do that, every one of us, the government, the business, individuals, and the legislature, hopefully, then we'll actually see a budget that's a realized and sustainable operation of this government. Because every time somebody puts something in the legislature into a budget that is not realized because the revenue doesn't come in, it's an empty promise.
Now, let me ask you this, because yourself and the governor are looking at government reform. We need to run a more efficient government.
Sure.
Okay? The legislature, although on the other hand, most particularly the finance chair, says, hey, wait a minute, what do you mean? What do you mean unrealistic budget? What do you mean we have a deficit of this amount? Which kind of gives the people this different view, like, wait a minute, the two sides are not talking. Something's not happening here. One side says we need to make sure the government's more efficiently run. The other side is saying the legislature, most particularly in the finance chair, is saying, what are you talking about? There's enough funding for all operations.
If that were true, then we wouldn't be in a deficit. The reality is, look at the numbers. They say there are lies and damn lies, and then there's statistics, right? But the realities of the money that come into this government are what sustain us. Not talking about what we should make, not what we could make, not what we would probably make, what we make. I can't pay a GovGuam salary. I can't pay for the lease for the ambulances. I can't pay for anything in the government off of a promise and a hope. I can only pay off the revenue. I went to see Benita Manglona today along with Tony Blas, director and deputy at DOA. And we're trying to get money to pay for the vendor who's been providing food for DOC and the prisoners. And these guys, the vendors, and many people, they provide services, medications, so many different things to this government that we need. And the revenue doesn't come in based on the estimates. You can't pay it. And those are the things that we're confronting every single day. Bernie Artero, works hard every single day at the finance of the governor's office, along with John Rios at BBMR. And these guys struggle day in, day out with people who are calling, asking for payment, and we can't pay them. So, you can't say that, yes, on the finance committee side of the legislature that we're all wet, but the reality is the revenue stream is not there to make the payments, because if we have a payless payday, is that what we're going to wait to see before we start to make real decisions on what we need to pay and whether the revenue's there to back it up?
Hey, more when we come back with our Lieutenant Governor, Ray Tenorio.